Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jitsi Community Call. Hope you all had a great week. Some of the team uh, is located in Texas, so we certainly had a few very interesting days um, of testing the limits of infrastructure in various ways. So uh, it was pretty funny, or at least you could look at it as funny. You can obviously look at it in some other more dramatic ways as well. So let's first go around the team. Anyone has any updates they would like to make? Um, Maybe as I'm waiting for people to step in, can someone say anything? Because I want to make sure that I'm not monologuing.
Well, I can announce that I'm really glad we don't run Jitsi from your basement.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm glad about that too. I wouldn't have liked the bill, yeah. I don't even know where I would fit thousands of servers in my basement because I don't have a
No
basement.
basement, yeah.
Yeah.
Garage then.
It would certainly not fit. So, a couple of things. People might have noticed that there's blur in our code base right now. And I actually think, let me see. Nope, the version that we have here is not the latest. So this choppy version of blur is going away, and a much better version that uses SIMD WebAssembly and different modos is coming our way. Tudor worked in that. I'm not sure if he's here. Saul worked in that as well. Jaya worked in that. So I'm very happy that this will land. Many people have been asking for it. I would also want to announce that toward the end of the month of April, more details are going to come. We're going to host a hackathon together with the European Commission, and there will be monetary prizes funded by the European Commission. And among the topics, we would have education. So, there would be things like support for emotion statistics, because that's something that teachers often struggle with on video course. There would be things like support for breakout rooms. There would be many other fun proposals, but obviously people are free to work on whatever they want, and then they will still compete. Okay, what else do we have? Our support for iPhone screen sharing is also progressing nicely. So we'll see how that lands. There are a few more loose knots to tie. Hopefully that will happen soon. We're still working on ramping up the support of the service for larger calls. I don't know if that's a functionality that will enable for me Jitsi, because it is particularly expensive, but at least people would be able to deploy it themselves, and obviously it will be available on 8x8 services, which is 8x8 Jitsi as a service, which I haven't announced today. So everyone, if you're interested in building infrastructure that uses Jitsi, please consider the 8x8 Jitsi as a service at jaas.8x8.vc. I'm pasting it in the chat. I'm not going to do my slide today about it. All right. Anyone else from the team wants to make any announcements?
There were few reports about Firefox not hearing Jitsi, and I've been working on that, and probably will update me Jitsi with a fix this week.
Thank you, Damien. Anyone else?
There was one annoying UI bug actually with the connection indicator and the local participant. So basically, the pop-up was a little bit covered from the video resolution label, the live streaming label, and all the other labels that can appear. So it was kind of hard to press the buttons there or see it. So that should be fixed now in master. I'm not sure when it's going to be deployed.
It's not live yet, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's fixed in master. Also, the other thing is that we are making pretty good progress with the film strip rectification. So probably the next go, hopefully it's going to be merged in master already. I doubt that it's going to be deployed, but
yeah, that's pretty cool, Christo. And I think one of the things that we would like to do there was actually a contribution for that, sorting up two things actually. So sorting up all people with video to appear at the top. So that's that. I don't know if we merged that one already, Christo, but
we haven't. But I saw the PR, and actually, it's a very cool way to sort the stuff. So thank you very much for the person who created the PR.
Indeed, thank you very much. But in addition to that, and I believe Jaya, you're working on this as one of your threads. But in addition to that, we're also working on making sure that the bridge would only require videos that are being currently rendered. And then that combined with the film strip reactification is, part of the support in Jitsi Meet for larger calls, because we're not only not going to require videos that we're not currently showing, but we're not even going to, create the React elements for thumbnails that are not currently shown before you scroll down. So all of this is going to make support for larger calls better. Also, we might be making changes with regard to the signaling of Jitsi Meet, because things that are entirely unnoticeable at 30 people that start to show up at 100 are a complete calamity at 500. So we would change the way we signal things within a call so that we're not overwhelming the signaling servers. Any other updates?
So I had an update about the thing that you just discussed about, like
Right.
using the new signaling format for the receiver constraints. So yeah, that's been merged in master now. So there is this config flag called use new bandwidth allocation strategy. When you turn that on, what the client does is, like, we had 3 different signaling formats before for signaling last 10, and then the constraints, and then the selected endpoints. So now we have actually merged them into a single message, and we have more flexibility over there. Like, we could specify the receive resolution per endpoint, and then also there is on-stage endpoints where when you have an endpoint listed under on-stage, the bridge actually does greedy allocation, the bandwidth allocation. So yeah, so that change has been made in libjitsi Meet, and it's in master now. We haven't really released it to Meet Jitsi yet, but then we'll have it in the next release.
That sounds good. Thank you very much for the update, Jaya.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? Good. Let's open the microphone for the community. Do you folks have any questions or comments?
Yes, hi.
Hey, Andreas.
Hi, my name is Andres. I'm a student from the Technical University of Delft in the Netherlands, and together with Kilian, Niels, and Rembrandt, who are also present in this call, we're doing a course on open source software, and we are looking to maybe contribute a little bit to this project. And we had a question that we couldn't really figure out from the forums, where we read that you used to have formal roadmaps for the project, but that it didn't really work out because the direction changed too often. Is that correct? I see you looking very confused, so maybe you don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of stuff written out there, and I'm not sure which one you've come across, but we don't currently maintain any roadmap outside of the things that we're currently working on and that we announce on these calls.
Yeah, okay. Because we were wondering if you could maybe tell us a little bit about what you see the future of the project entailing.
So as I said, we're currently working on things such as optimizing support for large calls, adding support for things like blur, maybe virtual background, maybe superposition of person on top of desktop. We're also, with regards to that hackathon that I mentioned with the European Commission, the topic is going to be around education. So again, things such as the ability to do reactions, to send applause, laughter, booing, and that sort of stuff. The ability to break people into breakout rooms is going to be a topic. The ability to enhance our speaker statistics with emotion statistics based on what part of the call were you smiling or frowning. Those are likely things that will make it as part of that hackathon, and there are things that are of interest. If you have any suggestions, I guess, because that's that's also relevant about what is it that you would like to see in Jitsi, then you can talk about that as well, and we can discuss what the intersection is between the two sets.
No, we can say that we really have some concrete suggestions what could be improved, not necessarily.
All right.
But thank you very much for your answer. That was very clear.
Yeah, stay tuned on. We're also launching Google Summer of Code, a Google Summer of Code application, regardless of whether Jitsi is accepted or not. We're likely going to publish the proposals. So there's plenty there. Yeah,
and as regards to the handbook, which is also still a work in progress, I think.
The handbook, yes.
Yes,
it will.
We were wondering if we do a sort of a formal specification of the architecture, which is something that we have to do anyway for the course. Would that be something that you, as a team, would also be interested in reading?
Of course. Yeah, as long as you folks are aware of what's out there, and why don't you do this? Why don't you think about exactly how you're going to structure it, and then we can discuss it on the next community call. And if anyone sees any overlap, we can discuss with that, so that you don't have to recreate stuff that already exists.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Sounds good.
And finally, I have this small bug report. I think that's also something that's already known in the team, but when I tried to enter this meeting in particular, via the link, I was alone in the room, and then I had to refresh 3 times before I actually entered the meeting itself. I think that's also something that's been reported before.
Yeah, we do have we do have this issue with split brain. So you were actually already in the room.
Yes, but alone.
On the pre-join screen. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is something that happens now, unfortunately, with our current implementation. We're essentially pushing the limits of the HA proxy support for clusters. It was never meant for the volumes that Jitsi has. So we're currently designing an alternative load balancing tool. So there we are. Aaron, have we put that as part of the Jitsi project on GitHub? Because if we haven't,
that's a good question. I'm not sure that all of the pieces are there, so I will work on that this week.
Yeah, let's make sure that they're there. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your questions, Andres. Any other questions?
I have a question or kind of a report. Last week, or a week and a half ago, I tried out the handbook, the Docker Jitsi Meet handbook, and for some reason everything was really quick and really great, but I can't get 2 people from different networks to connect. And of course, first thing is check the port, and I did check the port, and I am getting UDP packets. Anyone can say like what might be the problem, what I might have forgotten. I read the whole guide a few
So
times.
what is the experience? What happens?
You just go in and you see the other person, but you don't see any video or audio. You just, yeah, I can send a test room here in the group, but you just go in and you just like see that other participants are there, but you can't see their video. I also posted it on a community issue here. Some other people said they have the problem, but I'm not sure if they're just having a problem with the ports and if I'm having a different problem, so I don't know.
I would guess that that's the IP address for the bridge is not correctly signaled. But I need to check which. There was a environment variable for that.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we're not necessarily automatically harvesting and discovering what would be your publicly accessible IP. So if that's not being explicitly set in the bridge, it won't be advertised. So therefore, the bridge is going to advertise its internal Docker IPs, which obviously no one outside your network are going to be able to get at.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, cool. So I'll check out if there's a variable for where the variable for that is. Thanks.
It's named Docker host address, and that should be the IP address of how the clients to reach your JVB.
Okay, I think I did that already, but I'll send the config in the issue. Thanks.
Yeah, and you may need to have already had that set when you first launched the JVB container, because otherwise it's going to use a previously generated SIP communicator properties that would not have contained that property. So you may have to blow away the container and config and start over because of reasons. Not good reasons, just reasons, you understand?
No, don't worry. I deleted the images and recreated them. So
right. Well, what I mean is we also actually create and cache the SIP communicator config file and have that as a volume mount. So unless you've also cleared the contents of that volume mount, you will continue to reuse a previously generated SIP communicator properties file.
Even if I remove,
but the JVP doesn't use the SAP configurator anymore.
Okay.
Config.
Okay, cool. Well, then I am wrong, but it's still possible that we're using a cached version. So check the volume mount and make sure that you've blown away everything there, so it can be recreated.
Yeah, it might be, but I think we removed it.
Great.
So many.
I love learning new things on the community call about how our stuff works. Thank you.
Yeah, many of the changes we did recently on this repository were that the configs are generated on every start.
But is that baked into the current Docker images?
Yeah, it is. But I don't know if it's already there for all images.
Mm-hmm.
So we did for some, but not for all.
So Docker purge after I delete the images, I guess. So it deletes the caches.
Yeah, and maybe check wherever your volume mount is for your config and blow away whatever's inside that on your local disk too, on your workstation or wherever you're running it.
I can actually see on your thing that you are advertising a public IP address with port 10,000 and something that looks like it might be a private one. So could it be that your provider actually has a firewall policy about what is allowed and what isn't, or maybe it just mismatches the address, but it's something like 185, 154, 89.
Yeah, that's a public IP, no?
Yes, it is. I'm just wondering if it's the right one.
Yeah, it's definitely the right one. It should work. I have another Jitsi on the same address, just 91 at the end, and that's working fine with a different setup. I just wanted to try the Docker setup, and for some reason something went wrong there. What I could do is have the regular setup that I used already on that one, and then it would like show that it's working otherwise, and then just switch between them. But
so when I also look at the console, you seem to have plenty of messages about WebSockets not being able to open. Now we should have still heard audio and seen some video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did have some complications around running the JVB WebSockets through the same host in your Docker. So we ended up needing to have 2 different host names and doing some switching in the Nginx to forward to the correct container when you come in for the JVB WebSocket, which is different than the control XMPP WebSocket. And we tried to do that any other way we could, but I believe we ended up needing to have a different virtual host, like with a different host name, in order to make all that work. So I don't know that that explains everything here, because as you say, you should still have some video.
It does appear to be failing ICE though.
Okay, so that's still an issue.
So yeah, Hagai, you're still having ICE failures where like there's no communication happening between the bridge and the client. I would think about the firewall thing.
Okay, I'll take a look again into that.
Or possibly some kind of mismatch where your publicly addressable port is different than what you're forwarding to the Docker container. I don't know. This is just like, grasping at straws at this point. But it's the question of, if you see the packets in one spot and you don't see them in the next spot, then we try to figure out where the disconnect is.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of wire sharking and trying to.
Exactly. That's my best recommendation.
Isn't that why we're in this business? To begin with? Just because we all like Wireshark and we were looking for good excuses to keep using that beauty.
Yeah, I tried a few Wiresharks, but it's just a huge amount. And I was like, okay, I see. It was just too complicated.
I hear you. I don't blame you for not knowing, but unfortunately, you can't blame us for not knowing either for the same reason. So.
Yeah, thanks anyway.
We'll try to keep track of the community post and see if you make any progress and if we can come up with other suggestions.
Yeah, definitely. I'll report back. I just wanted to push it up to the newest version. I thought the Docker Compose was the easiest way, but I guess I can also just manually change all the versions of the Docker images with. I was using the setup from Slavy. I don't know the playbook, if you know about that, the Matrix playbook that also adds Jitsi. I was using that, so that worked fine as well. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good luck.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Yes.
I have students and somewhere I've seen that Jitsi uses jabber.org. How can we use our own server instead of Jabber? Can we use a Prosori?
No, we're not using jabber.org. Never. That has never been the case. I'm not sure.
Jitsi.
The link you posted.
Try to communicating with the.
Yeah, the link you posted is actually a specification that's saying what a muck user looks like in the XMPP protocol. So it's actually just a URL to a protocol definition. It's not actually using that server.
That's just the name. The name of the spec includes jabber.org. It's not used as an actual server. We're not trying to connect to jabber.org.
Okay. Good.
Thank you for asking, Pratik. Anyone else? In that case, thank you very much, everyone, for joining this week's edition of the Jitsi Community Call, and I wish you a wonderful couple of weeks until we're reunited back here again on the Monday after next. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye, thanks.